Good morning, everyone. So in this class, we are going to discuss about free electron theory. So which is the basis for all the properties present in the materials. So coming to the electron theory, so electron theory aims at to explain the structure and properties of solids through their electronic structure. So we know that all the materials consist of atoms in them. So all those atoms are packed together to form certain kind of materials. That means if they are tightly packed, they are known as solids. So if they are loosely packed, they are called liquids. If they are still very loosely packed, so those are known as gases. So in all these atoms, so we have nucleus at the center. So in the nucleus, we have positive charge, which is nothing but the proton, and around the nucleus, we have several orbits. So where electrons are present. So in those orbits, so there are some free electrons which are free to move in all directions. So those electrons are known as free electrons. So which are responsible for determining various properties of the materials. So in solids, electrons in the outermost orbits of atoms are called valence electrons, so which determine the properties of the material. So since they are free to move in all directions, so they are known as valence electrons or free electrons, so which determine the properties like electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, photoelectric effect, Bloch body radiation. So all these effects are properties of the materials can be explained with the help of these valence electrons. So the electron theory, which is applicable to the metals and non-metals, so is generally known as classical free electron theory. So in this lecture, we are going to study about classical free electron theory. So what are the different assumptions and how it is going to explain the properties of different materials such as metals and non-metals, and what are the drawbacks of classical free electron theory. So how these drawbacks are eliminated with the help of quantum electron theory. So coming to the electron theory of solids, so this electron theory of solids is developed in mainly three stages. So those are nothing but classical free electron theory, quantum free electron theory, and the zone theory. So coming to the first theory, that is nothing but classical free electron theory. So it was developed by Drude and Lorentz in the year 1900. According to Drude and Lorentz theory, so all the metals contains free electrons in them, and these free electrons are responsible for conductivity of electricity. And according to these scientists, so all these free electrons obey the laws of classical mechanics, that is nothing but Maxwell-Boltzmann laws. So coming to the next theory, that is nothing but quantum free electron theory. So it was developed by Sommerfeld in the year 1928. So according to this theory, same, the free electrons are responsible for the conduction in the metals, and all these obey quantum laws. So here quantum laws are related to microscopic level. Okay. So whereas Boltzmann laws, so those are related to macroscopic level. So this is the variation between quantum laws and Maxwell-Boltzmann's laws. So according to the Sommerfeld, so all these electrons obey the laws of quantum mechanics. So the another theory is nothing but the zone theory. So it was stated by Bloch in the year 1928. So according to his theory also, the same free electrons are responsible for the conduction, and these move in periodic field provided by the lattice. That means, so inside the lattice there is constant potential. Okay, so that means the potential difference inside the lattice is zero. So whenever this kind of potential difference is zero inside the lattice, so that is known as constant periodic field. So this theory is also known as band theory of solids. So according to band theory of solids, the metals have been, the materials have been classified into conductors, insulators, and semiconductors. So if you look at this, so this is the assumption of classical free electron theory. So that means according to the Drude and Lorentz theory or classical free electron theory, which is related to the metals and non-metals. So especially it is related to the solids. So in solids, we know that all the atoms are tightly packed together. So in such case, when the atoms are closely related or arranged together, so there may be a chance of boundaries overlapping with each other. So like you can observe in this figure. So here the adjacent atoms are overlapped together. So here at the center we have core, that is nothing but the nucleus, where the nucleus is present, and and at the around the nucleus we have different shells. So in those shells we have different electrons. So the electrons which are free, so are known as valence electrons. So inside the lattice, so in the three-dimensional space, lattice is nothing but the arrangement of three-dimensional coordinates inside the material. So inside this lattice, these electrons are free to move from one place to another place. So these are known as free electrons or valence electrons or conduction electrons. So these electrons will move in different directions. So when there is no electric field applied, so these electrons will arrange in random directions, means they move in different directions. So and they may collide with the another particles such as another free electrons, or else they may collide with positive ions, that means nothing but protons. So in those collisions, we assume that there is no loss of energy. So according to classical free electron theory. So this is how these free electrons, whenever there is no external applied electric field, so are free to move. So in such case, there is no chance of conduction of electricity. But we can make that metals to conduct electricity through them. So whenever external electric field is applied. So whenever external electric field is applied, so those free electrons will move only in certain directions. So instead of moving in random directions, that means we are making them regular. So due to that regular flow of electrons, there is chance of conduction of current through them. So which is defined by the classical free electron theory. So according to Drude and Lorentz theory, that means classical free electron theory, the assumptions are like this. So in an atom, electrons revolve around the nucleus and a metal is composed of such atoms. So we have discussed about this just now. So the valence electrons, that means the free electrons of atoms, are free to move about the whole volume of the metals like the molecules of a perfect gas in a container. So that means since the valence electrons are free to move in all directions, so in the given volume or given space, so these are compared with the perfect gas which is present inside a container. That means whenever a gas is placed inside a container, so those molecules are free to move, but within the span of container, so they are free to move. So these these electrons are compared to the perfect gas that is present inside the container. That means they will not come out of that surface. So they have to stay inside that container itself. So similarly, these electrons which are free to move inside the metals are like the molecules present inside the container. So they can move in all directions freely, but they should not come out of the container. That means they should not come out of the metals. So this is the assumption of classical free electron theory. So the collection of such valence electrons form all the atoms in a given piece of metal forms electron gas. That means these free electrons which are present in the metals are compared with the gas molecules and they are assumed them as perfect electron gas. So it is free to move throughout the volume of the metal. So within the given space, they are free to move, but they are not allowed to come out of the metal. So this is what we need to understand. So these free electrons move in random directions, and they may collide with either positive ions or fixed lattice structures, or two other free electrons. So these electrons, while they are moving in different directions, so can dash with either positive ions, that means protons, or they may collide with the free electrons which are revolving in the neighboring atoms. So all these collisions are assumed to be elastic. That means there is no loss of energy. We are going to assume it according to the Bohr and Lorentz theory. And the movements of these free electrons obey the laws of classical kinetic theory of gases. So the kinetic theory of gases state that, so all the gases, okay, so obey the laws of Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution velocities. Okay, so according to classical kinetic theory of gases, here the free electrons which are present in the metals also obey the Boltzmann and distribution, sorry, Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution laws. So that means here the electrons present inside the metal are compared to the perfect gas molecules present inside the container. So whatever those gases obey the laws, so all those laws are followed by the free electrons present inside the metals. So these free electrons move in completely uniform potential field due to ions fixed to the lattice. That means, so they are fixed to the metal. So they are not allowed to travel wherever they want. That means if there is a gas is able to diffuse from one place to another. So it can occupy all the space provided to it. But this will not possible in case of metals because they are tightly fixed to the lattice. So from the metal surface, these electrons will not come outside. So while they are moving in random directions, so since there is no potential difference due to the uniform potential field, so there is no current in case of random arrangement of electrons like this. But whenever there is electric field, okay, so when external voltage is applied, so electric field is created. So due to that electric field, all the negative charge, that is nothing but the electrons, are attracted towards the positive terminal of the battery. So that means they try to move towards the positive terminal of the battery. That means this creates regular arrangement of the electrons. So due to this process, due to this law of electrical conductivity of the metals, so which is defined by classical free electron theory. So coming to the merits or advantages of this classical free electron theory, it is able to verify successfully Ohm's law. So Ohm's law is related to the only metals. That means whenever there is potential in the material, so then the produced current is always directly proportional to the applied electric field. So that is nothing but the Ohm's law. So V is always directly proportional to I. So this is nothing but the Ohm's law, so which is followed by all the metals. So next, coming to the another merit, so it successfully explains the electrical and thermal conductivity of metals. So just now we have discussed electrical conductivity of the metals whenever they are subjected to external electric field. So there is regular arrangement of the electrons so that they allow current to pass through them. Similarly, this theory is also able to explain the thermal conductivity of the metals. That means how heat is transferred through the metals. And in addition to the electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity, so this theory also explains the Weidmann-Frenz law. So which is nothing but the relation between electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity of the metals. So according to Weidmann-Friend's law, electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity are related like this. So sigma T by sigma E is directly proportional to absolute temperature. So the ratio of thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity is directly proportional to the temperature. So whenever there is change in temperature, so there is change in electrical conductivity. So this is successfully explained by classical free electron theory. And according to classical free electron theory, so optical properties of the metals is explained. That means whenever temperature increases, so how the light is going to be produced from the metals. So is successfully explained with the help of classical free electron theory. Coming to the drawbacks or demerits of classical free electron theory, it fails to explain the specific heat of metals. So specific heat is nothing but the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of substance through 1 degree Celsius. So what is the amount of that heat is not explained by the classical free electron theory. And it fails to explain the superconducting properties of metals. So conductivity will come into existence. So whenever the resistance of the metals is completely vanished, that means at certain temperature, the resistance of metals is going to be completely vanished. So at that time, there is no resistance. That means resistance is going to be zero. So then the metals will behave like superconductors. There is no loss of current inside that superconductors. So this kind of property is not explained by classical free electron theory. So here metals will behave like superconductors at certain temperature, that is known as transition temperature. So this was not explained by the classical free electron theory. And it fails to explain the phenomena like photoelectric effect, Compton effect, black body radiation, etc. So all these are different properties of microwaves which we have discussed in the last class. Okay, so this theory is failed to explain the photoelectric effect of the matter waves and Compton effect and black body radiation of matter waves. And also it fails to explain electrical conductivity of semiconductors or insulators. So since this classical free electron theory is only subjected to metals and non-metals, it is unable to explain the electrical conductivity of semiconductors or insulators. So in which the band gap is more. Okay. So in case of semiconductors, there is some amount of band gap between valence band and conduction band. And in case of insulators, there is much gap between the conduction band and valence band. But in case of metals, there is overlapping of these two bands. So it is failed to explain the behavior of semiconductors and insulators. And it also fails to explain the property of ferromagnetism. So ferromagnetism is related to only certain metals, okay? So which allow magnetism through that. So which we have discussed already. So this classical free electron theory is failed to explain such type of ferromagnetism also. So coming to the electrical conduction, so here we know that classical free electron theory successfully established the properties of electrical conductivity. So according to this, we are going to derive the expression for electrical conductivity sigma. So here electrical conductivity is nothing but the degree to which a specified material conducts electricity. Okay, so how much of electricity is passed through certain material is generally explained by electrical conductivity. And generally it is calculated as the ratio of current density in a material to the field which is applied which creates that flow of current. So sigma equal to J by E. So J is current density and E is the applied electric field to create the current inside a particular material. So whenever an external electric field is applied, so then the conductor allows current through it. So which is nothing but the I. So here due to the movement of free electrons, so we are able to get the current. So if we have n number of electrons per unit value and E be the charge of the electrons, then the current density is given by the expression J equal to so Ne and Vd. So here N is the number of electrons and E is the charge of the electron. Vd is the drift velocity acquired by the electrons whenever electric field is applied. So here minus indicates the flow of electrons that are moving opposite to the applied electric field. So due to the applied electric field, these electrons will accelerate. That means they gain velocity and they move from one place to another place. So since there is movement of electrons from one point to another point inside the lattice, so these will gain the acceleration, which is given by the expression drift velocity by relaxation time. So drift velocity is nothing but the velocity, average velocity acquired by the electrons whenever they are kept inside the external electric field. And relaxation time is the time required to come back to the original position. So after removing the electric field. So A equal to Vd by tau. So Vd equal to A into tau. So now we need to find out the expression for acceleration to substitute in this equation. So whenever there is electric field of strength E applied to the conductor, so then the force experienced by the free electrons is generally given by the expression F equal to minus E into E. So here E is the charge of an electron and E is the capital E is the applied electric field strength. And similarly, whenever the acceleration is acquired by the electrons, so due to the movement of electrons, so then there is a force experienced by these electrons. So according to Newton's second law of motion, so the force experienced by the electrons, so due to the acceleration, so he is given the expression F equal to ma. So since these two are nothing but the forces, so we are going to equate these two expressions. So minus E into E equal to ma. So the expression for acceleration A equal to minus E capital E by small m. So now we are going to substitute this expression in drift velocity. So Vd equal to minus E capital E tau by m. So since we know now what is drift velocity, so now it is very easy to find out the current density. So which is in terms of drift velocity, so that is nothing but J equal to minus Ne dV. So substituting the Vd value, so J we are going to get is Ne square capital E tau by m. So since we know what is the current density, so we are able to find out the electrical conductivity with the help of expression sigma equal to J by capital E. So sigma equal to Ne square tau by m. So this is the expression for electrical conductivity. So in case of metals. So this is applicable to the only